Alrighty, so this We the People news. Okay, not attorney, not giving legal advice. At times I give my opinion. Well, in fact, most of the time. Alright, however, we just don't look straight forward. We always look around us, be able to protect ourselves by any means necessary. I have not done a whole lot of research today. Most of you already know that I raised a blind grandbaby, 4 years old, right? So he kind of keeps me on my toes, and he's been really active today. So this has been a moment. But while I've been busy with him, I do listen to things on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. Okay? And this came on earlier today, live, by the way. I don't know how I accidentally came across the live because, well, I try to get it live. Sometimes, UT kind of ignores me. Alright, so this one, as you can tell, is halfway across, alright? He's talking about a previous case. If you want to check him out, this is the Justice Revolution, okay? And this is about what are bills of attainder and why should, well, we care. And we hear this all the time. Now, I have done research on this, right? And again, I'm not the brightest tree on the block. Matter of fact, if you see me in the summertime, I'm still that tree in the wintertime. I had to research, study, research, study, okay? And because of my retaining disorder, I had to always keep implying myself. That being said, this right here actually helped me out drastically because when I was doing this research, I knew something was wrong. Could not put the puzzle together. Anybody's ever done puzzles, if there's a couple of missing pieces there, then a couple of other pieces won't go in there, and now you're stuck trying to figure out how you're going to get this whole puzzle put together. So once it's missing pieces into that puzzle, you're just going to have to say, well, until I find it, I'll get back to it later. And sometimes it's the case, and this is one of them for me, right? Because this did not make sense to me whatsoever when I started researching during the beginning, okay? This one kind of helped me clarify and understand it because I knew certain things was unconstitutional. But how was it unconstitutional was the question. Let's proceed forward because I yap too much sometimes. Let's go.
In the law, and ruining lives. Like that's they're destroying people's lives, and then we're already so busy with everything. Like we have time to study all of these rules and laws. I mean, thank God for people like you guys coming in here and learning, trying to just learn.
Well, so let's talk about the topic of the show again. I apologize. We always take forever to get to it, but we do get to it.
Just start off with it. How's that sound?
I know. The topic of the show was bills of attainder and why should I care? What are they? Erica, let me ask you, what do you think a bill of attainder is?
Well, it's like being told that you're guilty and here's the fine for it, but you never actually got a fair way to prove that you're not guilty.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty good. That's a pretty good definition. Justice, what about you? What do you think? What do you think is your definition of a bill of attainder?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm gonna say I don't know,
and that's okay. That's okay. So let me. Let me go back to
the way the word sounds. Attain sounds like capture something, right?
Yeah.
Attain something.
It's similar. Okay. Let me. That's not what I wanted. Where is it? Oh. I always forget. I got to make sure it's open. There we go. Okay. Let me open up this window here, and I will share with you. This is from Cornell Law School, so it's a pretty decent source. In our United States Constitution, it's Article 1, Section 9, Clause 3.1 says bills of attainder, and this is what it says: no bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed. So most people just, they see that and they just, their eyes gloss over or they pass over it because, they probably don't know what it means. But you have to remember, put yourself in the shoes, 1745 to 1770. All right. What was going on? What was happening? Well, obviously, we had colonials were here. They were expanding throughout, the New England area, building multiple cities. Boston was around, New York was around, although it was New Amsterdam at first. So what was happening though is the king, King George from England, if you did something that he didn't like, he would just write a law and just say you're guilty and you're done, just done. It's basically like he was passing the sentence, and he was judge, jury, and executioner all in one.
Right, and then he was like stripping people of their
everything,
ability and banning them from being able to pass anything on to their children. Like, you're dead to me.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he was just taking, whatever title they may have had. He may have just taken whatever it was that you had rightfully earned, or let's say, your parents were nobles and they passed that right on down to you. Nope, John, you're done. You're dead to me. That's exactly what was happening. So when the founders, for obvious reasons, this was a very contentious, issue at the time. Bills of attainder. So this is essentially what they are. They are special acts of the legislature that inflict capital punishments upon persons who are supposed to be guilty of high offenses, such as treasons or felonies, without any conviction in the ordinary course of judicial proceedings. All right? Now, on the flip side of that, if an act of the legislature inflicts a milder degree of punishment, then it is called a bill of pains and penalties. Essentially what it is the legislature assumes judicial magistracy, pronouncing upon the guilt of the party without any of the common forms and guards of a trial, and satisfying itself with proofs when such proofs are within its reach, whether they conform to the rules of evidence or not. In short, the legislature exercises the highest power of sovereignty, and what may be properly deemed an irresponsible despotic discretion, being governed solely by what it deems political necessity or expediency, and too often are under the influence of reasonable fears and unfounded suspicions. Okay? That's a lot of mumbo jumbo there. But,
well, it sounded like the definition of an administrative court.
Oh, wait a minute. What did you just say?
I was like, wait, is that the definition of a bills of attainder or administrative court? I'm confused.
Did you know ahead of time? Did you know ahead of time what I was going to get to?
No,
I didn't. Wait till you see what I have here. Take a look at this. There it comes. Could administrative law be unconstitutional? Question mark. This is a PDF document that was written by Richard Palmquist. For those of you who have ordered the CDs that Alphonse talks about, this was here. Okay? So the central issue, I want to talk about this right here in the middle of the screen for those of you who are watching. It's the central issue. So let's talk about what is administrative law. Remember, the Constitution allows the legislature to pass administrative laws in order to govern the activity of administrative agencies who are tasked with doing governmental tasks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So an administrative law is first, number one, it's an act of the legislative body. Two, it describes a group of people or entities. Three, it imposes a duty inflicting potential pain or penalty for non-performance. And four, without first consulting a jury for authority. All right? So that's what administrative law is. What did we just read a bill of attainder is?
To hold administrators accountable.
That's what I was saying.
Erica,
this is exactly the same thing.
Can you see this spot right here on the screen where it says a bill of attainder is?
Yes.
Go ahead and read that.
It's the same exact definition of administrative law. It's an act of a legislative body naming a described individual or group of people or entities, imposing pain or penalty without first consulting a jury for authority.
Okay.
Oui.
Is this not starting to sink in and making sense for people? So then here's my question. Why does the government behave as though administrative law is constitutional when bills of attainder are outlawed?
Because they can, and they're doing it.
Exactly. Okay, let me further this a little bit more for you. All right. Here's something interesting. So there's a photo here for those of you who are listening. There's a photo here, and this is and I don't remember exactly where this is. It's at Yorktown. It's the Yorktown display in Williamsburg, Virginia. And it says April 1764, Parliament passes the Sugar Act to raise money from the colonies through import taxes. In response, Boston merchants refused to buy English luxury goods. They also did this little thing called the Boston Tea Party. You guys remember that?
I recall.
Now, there was a Boston lawyer. His name was James Otis Jr. And he said this: taxes are not to be laid on the people, but by their consent. Okay?
Yeah, my daughter is reading the Declaration of Independence. She's taking some college courses from Hillsdale, actually. She's 15, and she's going through this, because how important this is. She said, have they ever taxed us, unknowingly and so forth? Like, all the time.
Yeah. So here's something else that's interesting, right? A little further down in this document, it says, are bills of attainder like administrative laws? If it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, or quacks like a duck, and looks like a duck, is it a duck?
It's a duck.
What is a bill of attainder? A bill is a law. To attain means to get. A bill of attainder is 1, an act of legislature that identifies members of a group targeted by the law, and 3, dictates a penalty to be inflicted, 4, without trial outside the reach of a jury. So a bill of attainder is a law designed to get something. Okay? Now, let me stop sharing my screen there. Let me open up my other screen, and let's start looking at some laws, shall we? Let's go back to good old Utah, and let's go down here to our criminal code. Utah Criminal Code. Now, last week, guys, we talked about the issues with what you find on your state's legislative website and why some of those are questionable as if they were actually passed by the legislature. We're not going to go back into that. But I want to talk about, knowing what we know now, what the definition of a bill of attainder is if these laws relate. Okay? So, here we are under Utah law, Utah code, Title 76, it's the criminal code, Chapter 5, offenses against the individual, Section 102. I like to use this one because this is what our friend Heather was charged with. Okay? And it states here, number 2, an actor commits assault if the actor, blah, 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 attempts with unlawful force or violence to inflict bodily injury, commits unlawful force, and then what does it say right here under number 3? Justice? A violation of subsection 2 is what?
Sorry, I'm muted. Is a Class B misdemeanor.
Okay. All right, so keep that in mind. Because again, this section here says assault penalties. All right, so we know that. Let's go back here and let's look at the definitions. Okay, actor means a person whose criminal responsibility is an issue in a criminal action. Okay. What does person say right here? Erica?
An individual, public, or private corporation, government, partnership, or unincorporated association.
Okay. Now, let me go back to where we were before. Let's look at the definition of a bill of attainder again. What is the definition of a bill of attainder? Erica, right up here where it says Bill of Attainder.
An act of a legislature that identifies members of a group targeted by the law and dictates a penalty to be inflicted without trial outside the reach of a jury.
So here's my question. Did that law we just review, does that fit the bill of what a Bill of Attainder is? What do you guys think?
Now,
Justice, you're on mute again.
well, they didn't say exactly how. It just said violations of this, right? How is that determined? If you violated it, do you get a trial to prove that you violated it?
We need to go back a little bit here, and we need to understand when the founders enumerated the rights that the government was supposed to follow, where it said in the Sixth Amendment, in criminal prosecutions, the right to a trial by jury shall not be infringed, shall remain inviolate.
Right.
Okay? So that law I just read said it's a crime. So you are guaranteed a trial by jury. Now, your guilt or innocence is determined by the jury. And additionally, what the founders envisioned was that your punishment would be inflicted based on the severity of the crime as determined by the jury, not the legislative body. It is not their job to prescribe punishment.
This is a minority report kind of administrative.
Isn't it though?
Right? It's like
it really kind of, it just makes your head spin. Okay, let me go back here to where we were.
That word usurpation keeps coming to mind.
Okay, I'm going to go back here into the Utah Criminal Code. Under Chapter 3, it talks about punishments. Classification of offenses. Oh, let's see. Designation of offenses. All right, it talks about that. Misdemeanors classified. Misdemeanors are classified into 3 categories: Class A, B, or C. Right? Then it talks about what an infraction is. So let's go back in here. Fines and special sanctions. Wait a second. Fines of individuals? Oh boy. An individual convicted of a misdemeanor or infraction and sentenced to pay a fine may not be charged by a court. Blah, 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 blah. But look what it says right here. An individual convicted of an offense may be sentenced to pay a fine not exceeding, what did it say that was? Is a Class B misdemeanor? What does that say?
$1,000 for a Class B misdemeanor conviction.
Okay. Now, let me go back over here.
Wow, what a rabbit hole.
Let me go back to, let me get to here. This is where I want. Make sure I'm on the right spot. Okay? Nope, I'm not. I gotta stop sharing. I don't love how I can't switch between tabs and things. Go back here again. For the 3rd time, what is a Bill of Attainder? An act of the legislature that identifies a member or a group, members or of a group targeted by the law, and dictates a penalty to be inflicted without trial outside the reach of a jury. So you guys just saw how I just pulled up the Utah criminal law. It states that if you're guilty of this, it's a Class B misdemeanor, and you can be fined up to $1,000. So please, can somebody tell me how that's not a bill of pains and penalties and a bill of attainder?
It is.
So isn't that unconstitutional?
Yes.
I mean, let me just, here's the next little rabbit hole. I'm sure loving these rabbit holes.
They've been getting away with this for quite a long time, and it's the rising of people wanting to represent themselves and stop these injustices is hopefully it doesn't take longer than, but it clearly is illegal and it's clearly unconstitutional, and people, they're going to do it until somebody confronts them.
Utah Constitution, Article 1, Declaration of Rights, Section 18. No bill of attainder, ex post facto law, or law impairing the obligation of contracts shall be passed.
Okay, so here's another question then.
Okay.
Because none of those laws that you were just looking up had the enacting clause that actually made it a law, right?
Yeah.
So technically, they're not breaking their own rule, right? Like, they didn't pass them. They're just expecting that maybe you'll think they did and go along with it and just pay your fine.
Exactly.
I guess, like I said, you guys, they have been doing this for so long and getting away with it for so long because we, the sheeple, have been asleep for so long. We've been going along to get along. Just, all right, you know what? I won't do anything. I won't speed. I won't do any of these things. But then they, it breaks your heart when you attend one of these alleged court hearings, whatever we want to call them, and there's 30 or 40 good people in there. And they're just saying, I'm sorry, can I just pay the fine? I mean, you guys got to if this weren't so evil, it would be genius. Really.
Yeah.
Because it's exactly what they're doing. They're just, to them, what's the risk versus the reward? The reward is 10 times the risk. And if they're going to get one person that's going to step up to it, they're going to say, okay, well, we'll just go ahead and pay out this settlement and just keep doing what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not until we, the people, wake up, we start challenging these ridiculous things, like Heather. She's trying to challenge this. It's not until we wake up and say, you know what? No, I'm not doing this. This is a bill of attainder. As this law is being applied to me, because according to the term person, I'm an individual, right? This law inflicts a penalty. This does all these things. It's a bill of attainder. Aside from the fact, like you mentioned, Erica, there's no enacting clause. I can find no signatures. I can find no evidence that this law was actually even passed by the legislature. So where are you guys getting this crap? Make sense?
Yep.
So
Pretty damning, James.
It's like, here's how they get us, though, okay? It's just like with everything that's happened over the last couple of years. If they can get us to focus on the minutia, the details of everything, then we don't ever step back and take a look at the big picture and be like, wait a second. This whole thing is fraud. It's like, they get us focusing on the tiny details.
Yeah. Mary brings up a good point. She says multiple defendants named out of Utah in the federal 42 USC 1983 Bivens claim with formal criminal charges I am filing. Criminal deprivation of equal protection under the law. Multiple causes of action. Good for you, Mary. Good. We need more people like you. We do. It's like we've said before. I'm only one man. Justice is only one woman. Erica's only one woman. We're trying to do what we can. We're trying to get the word out there, which is why we do this. We started doing a Q&A session. I would like to do more of those. Probably going to have to do them during the day. It's more feasible for me to do that during the day than it is at night. But we just wanted to be able to give you guys the information that you guys need.
Yeah.
Wahoo, let's see here. When you properly challenge jurisdiction at arraignment, how does the case move along? Must they provide a sworn complaint and evidence on record of subject matter jurisdiction before you can proceed? The answer.
All right. Well, as some of you guys already know, my TV, when it has that click there, okay, again, my cell phone, I got a little PVC pipe on the end of my bed recording off my TV. It is what it is, people. All right. Anyway, we're going to leave it at that because I'm not going to restart it. And it's already been so long on this. But this is We the People News, y'all. Remember, quit looking just straightforward. Always look around you. Okay? These people are getting people's minds out of prison. Right? You're thinking outside the box. How would I explain it? Trickery of words are affecting you. All right. Till next time, y'all. Bye.